Hey makeup friends! Today we're going to be talking about 12 new items that have either just hit the market or are coming up very soon. I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on them and talking about them in order of least exciting to me to most exciting. So let's get into it. Alright, before we get started, I want to welcome you back to my channel, or if you are new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and on my channel we like to mix beauty, brains, and the occasional F-bomb. We're going to get into it in just one second, but I just want to address the makeup really quickly because I do get questions on it. So even though I tend to put it in my description box, people do like to hear me say what it is I'm wearing, and this time the lashes are from Likely Makeup. This is in the style Delicate, and I love them so much. They're so long and wispy, but they're not like super full, so I can't like see them just hanging over my eyelids or anything of that sort. They're really lightweight, but I think they're just so pretty. The graphic liner that I've done here, I used the Guerlain liquid liner to do that. And then I filled it in with just a few shades from the Tartelette in Bloom palette. So towards the outside, I have the deepest shade here, and then I've blended it out with a mix of these shades right here. On my lips, we have a liquid lipstick from Juvia's Place, and this is in the shade Doo Doo. And yes, I may be 40 years old, but the word doo doo will forever make me giggle. On that note, I'm gonna scoot over, make some room for some pictures, and let's just get started with the items that I am the least interested in, moving to the ones that I cannot wait to add to my collection. Okay, so first up, we're going to be talking about the Anti-Valentine, wow, first of all, we're going to try to learn how to speak. Okay, the Anti-Valentine palette, there it is. This is from an indie brand called Carla Cosmetics. I am not familiar with this brand. I've never tried anything from them, but this palette, as pretty as it looks in the picture, is most definitely not going to be my first foray into Killer Queens because it comes with a $120 US price tag. Okay, so I've been reading through some of the comments on these posts, and it seems to be that a lot of people are like, I'm sorry, what? $120? What? And one of the big justifications that the brand is giving is that the mirror has a hand-etched design on it. If you can't quite see it in the picture, this is what it looks like. Okay, so first of all, it takes up the entire center of the mirror, which just makes the mirror more difficult to use. I personally don't really use the mirror in palettes, so I don't really care either way if there is a mirror, but I know some people really like having that aspect, and if you are somebody who really likes to have a mirror in a palette, that's probably because you want to use it. So it having a large graphic in the center of it might defeat that purpose. Secondly, the difference between hand-etched and laser-etched, if I'm just looking at it, I don't know that I, as a typical consumer, am going to be able to tell, and it certainly doesn't add any value to the palette experience for me if something is laser etched versus hand etched. I am more interested in the quality of the actual shadows. I am not familiar with Killer Queens. I have never used anything from them, so I have no idea what the standard is with their brand. But when they did post a video, you could see them opening them up from like a little clamshell package, like a little plastic individual package, and then glue those pans into the palette. So the question then arises, are the shadows just private labeled, basically? Have they just outsourced them from another company, curated the colors themselves, and then glued them into this palette? They deny that. I don't know. I will leave that to you to decide for yourself because I have no way of knowing. But take all that aside, $120 for a palette from a brand that hasn't been market tested enough for me to actually have any brand recognition with it at any rate. Not that I'm the authority, but this isn't a brand that you hear about constantly. It's not at the same level of, say, Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath, where those price points might make more sense. I would be very reluctant to spend that kind of money, first of all, on any palette, but certainly on a palette on a brand that I am not familiar with at all. So this one for me is an easy pass regardless of how pretty those shades look. Next up is another very expensive item, or at least two items, and these are from the new skincare line from Hourglass called Equilibrium. So like I said, there's two products. One is basically a hydrator of some sort. What is it? It's the day fluid. I'm guessing it's like a moisturizer. And then the other one is the Biomimetic Skin Active Serum. So the price point, keeping in mind it's from Hourglass. The day fluid retails for $115 US. I don't know how much you get in there. There is an SPF of 30. It says it's offering superior skin balancing hydration and protection, improves skin's texture and tone, contains a supporting concentrate of plant-derived phosphatidylglycerin. Glycerol. What? Phosphatidylglycerol. It contains something. It says the youth lipid is responsible for cell regeneration that occurs naturally in the human body and is found in high concentrations in amniotic fluid. So it's plant-derived, but it's found in high concentrations in amniotic fluid. I'm glad they said it was plant-derived, because otherwise I'd have some very serious questions going on right now. I'm okay not putting amniotic fluid on my face. I mean, that's not what they're saying it is, but... All right, moving on then to the Skin Active Serum. It says that it's a nighttime rebalancing treatment and contains a plant-derived bio-identical version of that crazy word again, the ingredient found in high concentrations in amniotic fluid. Please stop saying amniotic fluid when we're talking about skincare. Just please stop. I don't know why that's so off-putting to me, but it really is. It says that it normalizes skin cell growth and helps defend against the visible signs of aging. Comes in two different sizes. So for 28 milliliters of product, it is $220, or for 50 milliliters, it's $350. Yeah, that's going to be a no for me. All right, let's move on over to Clinique. They have released an Even Better Clinical Serum Foundation with broad spectrum SPF 25. It says that it has 3 serum technologies, an oil-free formula, which includes hyaluronic acid, salicylic acid, and vitamin C, and it leaves bare skin looking even better. Medium to full coverage with a satin finish, 24-hour wear, helps visibly improve skin instantly, and over time, it's going to retail for $42, and it's available in 42 shades, except that it's not really. If you look at it, I mean, that's like 42 shades of me. This is just straight embarrassing at this point. Clinique, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Like, where have you been, Clinique? Come out from under the rock, poke your head up, take a look around, look at the shade ranges that are now available in a lot of different brands. Go back to the drawing board and do better. This picture honestly looks like it should be page 1 of 2. And like the second half of the shade range should be on the second page. Or you know what might be nice? Let's flip that around and put it on the first page and then put this stuff on the second page. Do I even need to say anything more? I think it's just completely unacceptable that we're in 2021 and this is the best they could do. Unacceptable. All right, let's move on from there. And we're going to talk about Colourpop and their Wild Child release. I just think that there's a lot of really just questionable things going on here, and maybe I'm reading too much into it. That could be a possibility, but I'm going to say it anyways. So, for ages now, Colourpop has been consistently called out for releasing products that are not diverse. They are not suited for people with deeper skin tones. So I can only guess that this is their attempt to say, but we care about you too. They haven't said that, but I'm going to go ahead and read between the lines, and that's the assumption that I'm going to make. So if that is the case, I have a problem with the fact that it's called Wild Child. And I mean, I can see like giraffe print and all that kind of shit going on here. So I don't know how to verbalize the emotion that sparks in me to say, again, I'm going on an assumption, but basically to say, okay, dark-skinned people, wild children from the plains of Africa, here you go. Here's a palette for you. Like, that just doesn't sit right with me. That still seems a little middle finger in the air, if you will. I could be wrong, but that's my initial reaction to it. But then if you look at the shades in here, I mean, those two large pans on the other side of the palette, those are supposed to be blushes. I don't think anybody that has a deeper complexion, particularly that blush on the bottom, I don't think that's gonna work. Again, might not be my place to say that, but it doesn't look like a blush that's gonna show up on a richly pigmented skin tone. Do you know what I mean? I'm flummoxed by this. Colourpop, could you please consult with people with deeper skin tones? Maybe even, I don't know, employ some people who have a deeper skin tone and actually listen to their suggestions, because I feel like this just does not hit the mark. And honest to God, Wild Child, with the giraffe print motif, am I wrong in thinking that that's like super insulting? I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. I'm not buying it. There we go. Let's move on. Okay, Huda Beauty. So, okay, Clinique, grab your pen and some paper, take a look at the shade range, and make some notes for yourself. Okay? So Huda Beauty is releasing a newer version of their Faux Filter. It's going to be fragrance-free. I have not tried their Faux Filter, but I have heard that her products are very heavily fragranced. So this one is going to be fragrance-free, and it has the same full coverage and long-lasting properties, but it now has 24-hour flexible wear and a luminous matte finish. It's vegan, non-comedogenic, waterproof, and mask and transfer proof. It's going to be available on January 25th on the Huda Beauty website. There's no mention in here as to when it's going to arrive at Sephora, but if not the 25th, sometime shortly thereafter, I would imagine. So I tend to shy away from full coverage foundations. I will wear them from time to time, but it's not a product that I'm like, gotta test them all. That's not really my jam. So this isn't something that I'm interested in buying, but I do like the idea of a luminous matte finish. To me, that sounds more like demi-matte, soft matte, natural even. I like the idea of it being fragrance-free. I always find the whole 24-hour wear claim to be kind of giggle-worthy, to be honest, because I don't know many people who are actually wearing their makeup for 24 hours, but whatever. I like the idea of this, but it's just not a product for me, so that's why it's ranking as low as it is. Next up is going to be another eyeshadow palette from another indie brand, this time from Makeup a Murder, and this is going to be the Burner Phone palette. I think it's really cute. It's not anything that I'm necessarily interested in personally. I have enough rainbow palettes and I always love the look of them, and then I get them and I'm like, what do I do with you? I get overwhelmed. So it's not something that I'm interested in picking up, but I think it looks really cute. I like that they have done this like cute little packaging and yet it still looks largely functional. I'm not sure the dimensions on it, so I mean it could be like yay big or like massive. I'm not sure. If it's massive, it really does lose that cute appeal, so I'm hoping that it's a bit smaller and a bit more manageable for storage purposes, but I think it's really cute. I think it has some really pretty colors in there. I like that it's a mix of mattes and shimmers. Overall, this is a brand that does catch my eye from time to time. I've never pulled the trigger and actually tried anything from them, but they're on my radar. If you've tried anything from Makeup a Murder, can you let me know in the comments what your experience has been? Because I am curious about them. I just don't think this is the palette that's going to suck me in, but I definitely have my eye on them. They're one that I would be interested in trying at some point. But in case you are interested in purchasing this, it's going to be available as of the time that you're seeing this video, and it is going to retail for $39. Now for a brand that I have not heard of before. This is Carla Cosmetics, and they are coming out with new Opal Multichromes launching on January 30th. They're going to have 10 shades available. They're called loose opals, so I'm guessing that they're loose pigments. But my goodness, these swatches look beautiful. Like, I'm all about the multichromes. I think multichrome is like the best invention since sliced bread. And these look beautiful. And they do look different from a lot of the multichromes that I've seen. I think these look really soft and gentle. I think they're going to be perfect for like springtime. That second from the bottom shade, Chill. Yes, please. Get on my eyeball. I kind of wish that all 10 were swatched out so that I could see what all 10 would look like, but I'm very curious. Again, if you've ever tried anything from Carla Cosmetics, please let me know what your experience has been and maybe what the price point is, because there's no information here in terms of what that price point is going to be. But my goodness, do they look pretty or what? I don't know. See, here we are, we're like, the next like 4 or 5 items that I'm talking about, they really could have been interchangeable. It's kind of hard to rank them. The only reason I'm ranking these ones down a little bit lower is just because I haven't heard of the brand before. But just like visual interest, yes please. Now on to another indie brand. This is from Sigil, inspired by Tammy Tanuka. I believe she's Russian, I believe. I do have quite a few of her loose pigments. They are beautiful, but this is a pressed palette. And if you saw my BH Cosmetics Lost in LA review, in that palette I was saying like I wish there was some deepening shades because this palette just needs something to pull it all together. For whatever reason, this palette, even though there are no deep options in it, it looks like it's cohesive to me. It looks like it can stand to not have any deepening shades. And I'm not sure what the difference is. It must come down to just the tones. That's what I'm thinking. When I look at this, I just think of spring and summer. I just think of really easy, sort of ethereal looking makeup. I'm really interested in this. I'm really interested in it. It's launching on January 24th at 12 Moscow time, which is 4 a.m. Eastern time. I don't have a price point on it, but I think it looks really pretty. I don't know that I have like a burning desire to buy it. Like I'm not going to be like setting an alarm and waking up at 4 in the morning to make sure that I get it, but it's really pretty to me. So the next new release to talk about then is from BH Cosmetics, and they have launched a Lunar New Year collection. This is being done in collaboration with Gigi Yang, I believe is how you say her name. I think she's a journalist. I'm not familiar with her, but at any rate, here's the collection that they've created with her. So there is a palette, there are some like glitter gels and a liner, and then some lashes as well. I will go ahead and say that I ordered the palette and it just got delivered today. I have not even had a chance to put my fingers in it yet. Certainly haven't applied it yet, but there's what the shades look like. There are some pressed glitters in here. So these two are pressed glitters, this one over here, and then this is like a multi-colored, really pretty looking pressed glitter. I do want to take pictures of it, but I will run my finger in one just for the sake of giving you a preview. That is really, really smooth. It doesn't feel gritty at all. Let's go ahead and see how it swatches. So obviously there's no like primer or anything on my hand. That's pretty. Again, it doesn't feel gritty at all. It's not like super gelatinous, you know, and it's like basically in Vaseline. It doesn't feel like that at all. That's really pretty. Ooh. I don't see any warnings on the back about anything being unsafe for the eyes. I'm not seeing any of that. But I do see that it's Leaping Bunny certified and vegan, so there's that. I'm not sure. There's 21 shades in here. It was $21 from BH, available on their website. All right, so up next then is going to be the Divine Rose 2 collection from Pat McGrath. So they're bringing back the Divine Rose 2 palette, the Mothership 8, but it's coming back in the pink packaging. It's $125 US. There's a new quad called There's a new quad called Eternal Eden, and it's going to retail for $58 US. There's a new Skin Fetish Ultra Glow highlighter for $48. And then there are 2 shades of the original Liquilust liquid lipstick formula. They're $30 each. You have Divine Rose, which is a soft plum rose, and Divine Nude, which is a lush nude beige. There's a matte trance lipstick in Divine Rose for $38. Eye pencils and lip pencils, as well as the Dark Star mascara, which goes for $30. This is going to be available January 29th on the Pat McGrath website or on February 5th at Sephora. I think the quad looks really pretty. I don't think I need it, but I think it looks really pretty. I'm also really curious about the liquid lipstick. I did have one of her liquid lipsticks from like ages ago. I don't know if this formula is going to be any different or not, but in particular the shade Divine Nude, that's right up my alley. I think that looks super, super pretty. I am going to say no to the big 10 pan palette. It's just $125 US. These things go for like $170 up here in Canada, and that's a lot of money to put towards an eyeshadow palette. It's pretty, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see myself spending that much on a palette. I just don't. The highlighter looks like it has a strong pink tone to it, and pink highlighters and I do not get along. I have more of like a yellow undertone, so when I put pink highlighters on, it's a little jarring against my skin. But if you like pink highlighters, this looks gorgeous. It really does. So I don't know, this is going to be housed on my maybe list, but I am definitely eyeing the liquid lipstick and the quad. Like really, really strongly eyeing them. We'll have to see. All right, second to last is coming from Lime Crime. Not a brand that I really talk about all that much, not a brand that really releases an awful lot, to be honest, but they're coming out with liquid eyeliners. These are going to be called the Venus Liquid Eyeliners. They are going to be $18 each. You can get a trio for $46 or the bundle of all of them for $168. How many shades are there? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. And they are going to be available when? Does it say? Oh, available now. So these are available for purchase now. There's quite the range of shades in here. And I will say I had one of their liquid liners years ago. They haven't sold liquid liners in ages, and I cannot remember what it's called, but I had it in, it's called Blue Milk. Is that what it was called? It was like a really light, pale sky blue, and the liner itself was fantastic. It didn't crack. You didn't have to put like 28 layers in order to build up the opacity. Like, it was just a beautiful liner to work with. So I'm really hoping that this is just like a reinvention of that same formula, because if so, it's a good liner. So that is then going to bring us to the item that I am the most excited about. And I tried to order this off of the website, and then the shipping cost just came up and was like, So this is going to be the Mini Love collection from Natasha Denona. I think it's so beautiful. I will tell you though, I'm not going to buy the whole collection. I don't need the whole collection. I'm trying to be really good with this budget thing, guys. I'm really trying. So the item that I really want to buy is the mini palette. I love her mini palettes, generally speaking, to begin with, but these tones, as I was saying earlier, the pinks and the plums, like, they're my wheelhouse. They make my eyes just like bing. They really bring out the green in them. I love them. This looks so beautiful to me. I'm really excited to get this palette. The cheek palette as well looks very pretty, and the packaging is almost enough to get me to buy it just in and of itself, but budget. But that cream shade that comes in it is available in the really large face palette that she put out ages ago, and I have that palette. So I don't need half of this cheek duo. And then again, the highlighter has like a pink tinge to it, and I know that that's not going to work on me. Okay, so let me read through the prices for you so that you're aware. As I said, this is available on the Natasha Denona website now. For me though, the palette would have cost $25 US, and then shipping was going to be $20 US to Canada. So it's like, no. So I'm gonna wait until it comes to Sephora, and it will be arriving in Sephora on January 28th. So I'm gonna place my order for the palette then. So like I said, the palette goes for $25. There are 5 ultra pigmented pink and purple toned eyeshadows inspired by the Love eyeshadow palette, but they are not repeat shades, which is good to know. And they have matte, metallic, and duochrome finishes. It's checking all the boxes. I cannot wait to get that little mini palette. Cannot wait. The Love Cheek Duo is $42. It has a cream blush from the Diamond and Blush Glow palette. There's the name of it. And a new shade of the iconic Highlighting Impact Powder, a warm pinkish chrome that shifts from pink to champagne. The lipstick is only available in 1 shade, and it is $25. At any rate, there it all is. I would love to hear from you in the comments below what it is that you are interested in this week. What are you not interested in? All of that good stuff. But for now, I am going to wrap this video up here. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.